Are you a hardworking doctor who wants to live a great life without the stress of managing your finances? Training to become a doctor is a monumental task, and as you transition into practice, you face new workloads and major life decisions. Financial planning becomes crucial, but knowing where to start can be overwhelming. That's where Ren Financial Planning comes in. Ren Financial Planning helps doctors use money as a tool to live great lives.
With Rand Financial Planning, you can stop stressing about finances and instead focus on what matters most. They understand the challenges you face, and that's why they're here to handle the details and solidify a financial plan that keeps you in control without having to manage all the specifics. And here's the best part. Rand Financial Planning offers a transparent pricing model. Say goodbye to hidden fees, kickbacks, or commissions. With their flat fee model, you'll know exactly what to expect.
At Ren Financial Planning, it's about more than just your money. Their team is dedicated to helping you make smarter financial decisions that align with your vision of a fulfilling life. So if you're a doctor ready to live a great life without the stress of managing your finances, reach out to the team at Ren Financial Planning today. Click the link in the show notes now to schedule a no-cost triage meeting with one of their planners to discuss how they might be able to help.
Finally, a source of raw, real, and honest information on healthcare issues that matter most. Welcome to BS Free MD. From the latest medical information to how to stay sane as a doctor or a patient, no subject is taboo, and no BS is allowed. Now, let's welcome your hosts, Doctors May and Tim Hindmarsh.
Okay, you can hear the volleys of anti-aircraft fire, which means it must be another truth bomb incoming.
Happy Wednesday.
Yeah, so May and I've just kind of decided that we're gonna play tennis with the truth bombs, and sort of we each kind of take one and manhandle or woman handle it as it would be, alternating weeks. Not playing actual tennis because that would be a disaster, and then I would be really angry because I hate it. So
I'm trying not to interrupt your chance to serve this over.
Whack. So it's a crushing forehand as he plays at the Old England Club. And he's wearing white, of course, because you cannot wear any other color at Wimbledon.
I'd like to see you in all white.
White only.
Do they put Iron Maiden t-shirts on white?
No, but Iron Maiden
Harley
is
Davidson t-shirts on white?
made in England. They actually had a tour called Made in England. And so, wow, we're gonna do what we are doing now. What all the podcast hosts do that we hate that they do, which is they talk about crap before they get to the content that people care about.
They sure do.
So let's not do that anymore. I'm going to talk about comfort, or as the case may be, discomfort or pain, which is even better.
Why did you pick this topic?
Because I think it's critically important to success. Critically important to success. Like to all kinds of success. And we live in a society that has been so unbelievably comfortable for so long. Like you wouldn't have had this discussion 140 years ago, like the mid 1800s or 1900. It wouldn't have mattered because life was just super uncomfortable, and that's the way it was. So doing whatever you could to, get away from that to a certain degree really, spurned all these advancements of the Industrial Revolution from the mid 1800s on. And then you become so comfortable that you get, lazy and complacent, and all these other bad things happen.
So what are we going to do about it? Do you want me to help you not be comfortable?
No, you've been an expert at that.
I don't know.
So
that NASCAR.
No, I know.
To keep you pretty comfy.
It does. But, it harkens back to the quote of Jesus, which is, in this life, you will have trouble. And I think if the assumption that people have, or the assumptions that we have, really guide our thinking. And you have to change how we think and approach problems. Really comes back to going back and altering the assumption. So what's the assumption? Because a lot of people have this assumption of I should be comfortable, when in reality, if you look at the history of humanity, it's no, you should be uncomfortable, like in every way. Like you should be hungry, you should have disease, you should be sleeping in a cave. I mean, that's humanity. That's most of humanity. And that's still a large portion of people, of the 8 billion people that live in the world now. Their life is just discomfort. So this idea of expecting comfort is ridiculous. Okay. When you have it, it's a blessing. And it harkens back to probably one of the most painful experiences I've had. At least it's absolutely the most painful experience in sports that I've ever had, which was I went ice climbing with a friend of mine, and it was really cold. It was probably 25 below zero. And I had the wrong boots on, and I was gripping the ice axes really hard, and my toes got kind of pinched, and then they're like almost in the ice. And I didn't get frostbite, but I got really, really close to having frostbite on virtually all of my toes. And I remember walking that off, and it was just like agonizing and how horrible it was. And then I talked to my friend who was guiding me and had done tons of climbing. And he said, you know what I love about this? Is it makes me comfortable being uncomfortable. And I really appreciate comfort now. And I was like, there's some truth there. So there's pain, and pain is absolutely inevitable. But I absolutely believe this. There's good pain and there's bad pain. There's the pain that, you go to touch something and it's hot and you move your hand before you burn. That's good pain. There's the pain of exercise versus the pain of being, morbidly obese or out of shape or insulin resistant or a type 2 diabetic or having a heart attack or any of these things. And so the fact is, the blessing that we have in first world countries is we largely get to pick our pain. And it really is the secret sauce to the least amount of suffering in your life. I've heard many different definitions of suffering. I think the most adequate definition is it's not just physical pain, but it's physical pain combined with the emotional and spiritual angst that goes along with it, or it's the, these really dark periods people have emotionally that go on and on. That's suffering. And I think that people that pick their pain end up with the least amount of suffering, because you're really, every decision we make, you're either deciding to have a less long lifespan, to have more difficulty doing activities as you age, or not. I mean, May has just gone through Peter Attia's Outlive book, and we're all, I've said this a gazillion times in speaking I've done, we're all training for something. And so I love this idea of picking your pain. And, people talk about, well, I got to get out of my comfort zone. Well, do you know what that means? If you're out of your comfort zone, you're uncomfortable. And I think a lot of people just move from one comfort zone to a different comfort zone. They move from the couch to the Barco lounger. No, you're not out of your comfort zone unless you're uncomfortable. And it's super powerful. And this isn't just, physical training, even emotional and relational stuff. Like we've had some really great discussions with some of our friends lately. And it's, sometimes you got to have hard conversations with people. People are doing self-destructive things. And it's uncomfortable to mention that, but you can do that in a kind, loving way, which is really what caring is about. There's discomfort in caring for people.
Have you heard of hyperbaric therapy?
If you want better circulation, oxygenation, or respiration,
Turn up the volume.
Everyone appreciates the increased energy and clarity.
Athletes say goodbye to those PRs because you're going to blast
So
them.
how does it work?
We load your body with oxygen.
That means
less inflammation,
fewer allergies,
faster healing, and more.
Come see us, 1200 Executive Parkway.
The Upside Down building.
Call us, 541-636-3278.
That's 541-636-3278.
We have some incredible deals.
Heal, build, and thrive
With New Leaf Hyperbarics.
Got air?
What I've come up with as the bottom line for this is, if pain is inevitable, picking your pain really is mandatory. And I think very few people work through that it's like, it's just too easy to be comfortable. And so I'm challenging myself now because May and I are going through some uncomfortable stuff because we're moving again. It sucks. We have faith that the things we give up will ultimately gain us, I don't, things, which is a dumb word, but will gain us more job
I
satisfaction,
was
more,
thinking in the terms of, when people like to stay comfortable, they don't grow. And not all pain is beneficial. There's a lot of pain that people live with and have physical ailments or in situations where they're being abused or emotional abuse. That's negative pain. But what I hear you saying, and I agree, is that to grow and to have positive growth and to have better career or personal growth or physical improvements, anything like that requires you stepping out of your comfort zone, and it's going to be painful, uncomfortable, scary. And so you have to choose, are you going to just sit there and not grow and not develop and not become a better version of you, or a fitter version of you, or more successful, or a better partner, or better for your kids, your spouse, etc.? Or are you just going to sit there kind of with like the comfortable little blanket and binky in your mouth and not budge? So it's going to hurt. It's going to not feel great. And sometimes you have to like hurt a little bit to grow.
Well, right. And, there's some extreme examples. I think the most extreme example is probably the toughest man in the world, who is David Goggins. And he wrote a great book called Can't Hurt Me. And he was working as an exterminator at all night, and he was almost 300 pounds. He was 297 pounds. Then he's like, this sucks. Like, my life sucks. He was in the Air Force for a while, and then he got out of that, and he went home and he watched TV, and there was these guys going through basic underwater demolition training, or BUDS, to become Navy SEALs. And he goes, that's what I want to do. And he lost 106 pounds in 3 months.
Wow.
He quit his job and he said, that's all I'm going to focus on. But the thing that's really interesting is his resilience is so amazing because he failed BUDS twice from injury. So they let him come back. He's the only person to go through Navy SEAL training 3 times in history. And then I believe he's the only guy in the world to have become a Navy SEAL and an Army Ranger. And then he got into these ultra marathons. And the one is, I forget what it is. I think it's the Western States 100, where it starts in Death Valley, and you run through Death Valley, and it's like 125 degrees. And then it ends on the top of this mountain that's like 4,000 or 5,000 feet and like freezing, basically.
Yeah, I'm thinking there's not enough gain in that for me to have pain.
No. So when you you hear these stories, and I mean, I don't think they're examples of how people should live, but I think seeing examples of what's actually possible is motivating to go, okay, well, what do I want to do? What do I want to do that's different? And understanding that all change to a certain degree is uncomfortable. It's like, okay, well, what's possible? Is it possible to lose another 15 pounds? Or is it possible to gain another however much of muscle? Is it possible to, read more? I mean, pick whatever you want to pick. And the answer is yes. Because if somebody can go from 297 pounds and like lose 106 and become a Navy SEAL and then an Army Ranger, we can probably put up with a little bit more discomfort and, put down some of our go-tos for just being comfortable.
Yeah.
And it really struck me because every single person that's successful was willing to count the cost and take the leap of faith and go, yeah, I know it's going to be painful, but I'm going to do it anyways. And some of the most rewarding things I've ever done in my life where I know this is going to suck, but it's going to be worth it.
So take that to heart. Get comfortable with getting a little uncomfortable. It won't kill you if you start small.
Embrace the suck.
Yeah. Embrace the suck and feel that pain as weakness leaving your body as you grow in a positive direction. And now we'll end the show with a special shout out to our sponsor, Wren Financial Planning. Take control of your finances and live your best life with the team at Wren Financial Planning. They handle the details while you focus on what matters. Transparent pricing, personalized solution.
All right, till next week. Bombs away.
It's no secret that medicine is a bit, uptight. That's why Tim and I created BS Free MD, to mix things up a little and have fun in the process. Besides, we are having these exact same discussions all the time, so we thought we might as well invite everyone to the party. If you really like us, you can get plenty more and maybe see one of Tim's cool tattoos on our Instagram or Facebook pages at BS Free MD. See you next time.
But we try to keep BS Free MD as raw and real as possible. We can't be held responsible for any medical decisions or discussions had as a result of what you've heard on the show. We know, bummer. But the truth is, we really do care about your questions. So feel free to reach out to us by email at doc@bsfreemd.com.